beautiful color in the sky. Look at that. I'm in the vicinity of the gazebo, though I'm not sure if I'll have time to do a lap or not. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about is why Neo-Swedenborgianism is superior to everything else in the current market of schools of thought. The reason it is superior is basically boils down to the Neo-Swedenborgian God proof, which is indisputable and has yet to be disputed, though it has been scoffed at quite a bit. The God proof comes down to this, and this is kind of a child of my studies in comparative religion and reading near-death experiences, okay? And you can study comparative religion and study near-death experiences too. And if you look at those two things, which are rather large topics, the following conclusion is supportable. And that is that, for example, Howard Stern had this near-death experience. And the question we ask, looking at him, is not, was it actually real? But was it believable, and was he convinced? Like, is he either faking it? He's either faking it for a long time, really convincingly, or he has really experienced something, right? That is not just real to him, but more real than real. Okay, so that Howard Storm is the evidence that I'm citing that is observable. And people get into a twist about this because they say, well, that's just a subjective experience. And yes, he had a subjective experience, right? I agree. I am objectively observing him and thousands like him, okay? So my behavior is objective. This is an objective observation that you can share, and it's not hard to make, okay? Howard Storm seems mighty convinced to me, and that other guy, Dr. Eben, who describes talking to his sister while flying on a butterfly wing, which I'll as an aside, I'll say that's the only time I've heard of that in all these near-death experiences. And one of the things we look at to connect this back is how common these experiences are, right? So, for example, Dr. Evan Alexander flying on a butterfly wing, I've never seen that in any other near-death experiences, and you won't either if you read the material, right? Or listen to these things. There's the tunnel of light, there's the garden, there's grandma. Those things happen quite regularly. So we're quantifying all of this, right? We're counting it, and we're sharing our observations that, for example, and these are all, I don't have the specific figures, but the point is that there are specific figures. Tunnel of light, maybe 8%, seeing grandma, 0.9%, whatever. There's a number that is predictable and repeatable. So this is all scientific. So the point being, Howard Storm is what I am observing objectively, right? So I am not telling Howard Storm's story from the first person point of view, okay? I'm an observer observing it, and you can now predict, right? So here's the prediction, is that if you chart cardiac arrests happening in hospitals where a person in a clinical setting has had their heart stop for some reason or other, how many of them come back with stories to tell about tunnels of light, right? Let's just say 8 or 9%, because they don't all, and most of them just wake up and say, I close my eyes and then later I open my eyes. They don't remember a thing. That happens 90-something% of the time. Let's say 92.5% of the time. Or 91, it fluctuates. So this is data, right? That's all I'm saying. And that is, if there is a consistent data point that 8% of the time people come back with this, what they essentially call a greater reality, and it's a greater reality to such an extent that they completely alter their life. This is what is observable. This is the Neo-Swedenborgian God proof. If you're going to call God and all that as an illusion, you have to then concede that people who have actually experienced this illusion, right? This illusion, which I haven't, and I'm assuming my audience hasn't, because to somebody who has, for example, had this experience, what I had to say is not very interesting. Because I'm not talking from the first person. You got me? So, what they say is not scientific. What they say is a subjective experience. Whew. What I'm saying is scientific. And that is, God exists as a human experience. Period. It exists just like phantom arms exist for people who have amputations. It's a predictable and quantifiable and hyper-convincing human experience. So convincing that people change their life to make that the center and most important part.